Well, now as a chassid, there's three that can't be a chassid. Yeah, it's a Yerushalmi, a historian, yeah, and a Gabbai. Those are the three.
So Yerushalmi, a Gabbai, and Beis Sarab, a relative.
But historian is also historian.
Historian. So Groner is all of them. He's Yerushalmi, he's medical, and a Gabbai.
Rabbi Groner gave it on Gimel Tammuz. You came here for bringing to this room. Following that for bringing, Rabbi Groner said, Gimel Tammuz is a matter of Od Mashiach Chai. The morning after, I woke up to a dream I had of a Rebbe, and the people were saying, he's dig him up, let's prove it. And okay, the next scene in the movie is the Rebbe's there on his bringing spot in the 770, and I'm behind him like the old Hasidim, looking down over the Rebbe's shoulder, down on the guy who was saying, dig him up, and he's like, his jaw's on the floor, and he's like, oh, he is alive. Okay, put him back.
He take off his whole eyes from this chasha face, from this big face. I couldn't concentrate when he was talking. He was looking at me, so I couldn't hear what he says.
He was the one that danced from Gimel Tammuz. Yeah? Who?
What's in this Tammuz? You know, in Russia, when they used to arrest someone, and they knew, the KGB knew what is the weapon. It's two things: a Tanya and a children. That was in Russia. They catch the chassid, they looked if they found a Tanya or a picture of the Rebbe. It was the Friedrich Rebbe at that time. That's it. We got the real guy. We got the real McCoy. And this is where it is. You cannot be a chassid of the Rebbe without learning Chassidus. I mean, there is some special Jews with a soul connection with the Rebbe, but to a little bit appreciate of the Rebbe, because you are Chabad Chassidim, right? We're not Hagas Chassidim, we're not. To appreciate a little bit what it means Rebbe without learning Chassidus, you don't appreciate. You don't. Rebbe is the whole being. The whole being of the world, the whole being of the chassid. The biggest geschmack of a chassid is to be able to give the Rebbe some nachas. Manage to give the Rebbe some nachas. This is the biggest geschmack that person could have. It's like a Tanya Perik Yud, yeah? The chassid was a chassid. It's chassid in Canaan. He does something for his master, for his creator. Imagine a child manages to do something for his parents. He doesn't need any reward. This is the biggest reward. He manages to do something for the most beloved people that he has. He manages to do something for them. That's his joy in being. That's his excitement. We have a chassid in our city in Toronto, Yitzchak Rappaport. His father used to live in Napa, in Kiryat Malachim. So he was arrested. In Leningrad, he's in jail. So at one point, they tried to, in this case, the guy who is the interrogator tried to prove that he's a Lubavitch chassid. He says, I'm a Jew. He says, you're a Shneur Sonsky. He says, no. Shneur Sonsky means you belong to Shneur. And over there, that was the worst thing. So he told him, well, you daven, you say first, hey, to them Baruch Shoma, right? He says, right, what does that to do with being a chassid? That's the siddur. My father taught me, so I daven the siddur. He says, but you're chuppah. Who was the rabbi? The Hasidic Rav was taught, not the Litvak. So it's true.
Litvaks didn't bother them.
Huh?
Litvaks
didn't bother them.
Didn't what?
KGB. Litvaks didn't bother the KGB.
Didn't
Didn't worry them.
care about Litvaks, all they wanted was Chabad. No, the Litvaks were gone by that time already.
Huh?
Litvaks were gone right away.
He wanted to prove that he was a chassid.
So he says, well, no, on the Chuppah, I was busy about the college. Who cares who the rabbi is? My father-in-law chose the college. What do you want from me? So then it tells him, you see, the tzitzis you wear are what? Not the regular. He says, yeah, that's how my father educated me. Anyway, I never think he had an answer. In the end, he got tired, and the guy was still proving him, you know, you're a Lubavitcher, and he knew he was going after the right things. He knew the difference. In the end, Yitzchak, his father, Yechiel Michal, says to the guy, and you're going to prove that I'm a Lubavitcher, so what? What's the difference of that? I didn't do anything against the government. He says, no. My father was a Chika, was the first of the Russian Revolution. And my father taught me one thing. When you arrest a Jew in Leningrad for opening a cheder, for doing something Jewish, you send him to Sibir, he's cured. He'll never do it again. He's afraid. He's not going to touch it again. You achieved your job. If you take a Lubavitcher in Leningrad for opening a cheder and you send him to Sibir, he says you didn't achieve nothing. You just moved the cheder from Leningrad to Sibir. Because he's going to continue doing the cheder in Sibir. That's what the KGB guy tells him. Tells it to him. He took to this. The guy was interrogating. He says, my father taught me that a Lubavitcher, if you arrest him, you send him somewhere, he will continue doing it as long. So the only treatment of him is put him to the wall and shut him. Because otherwise, he will continue doing it. You can't stop him. That's what he told, that he was told by Jew. By the way, not Jew. Wrote this for Naftali Gottlieb, asked him for an interview, and he wrote it for him as memories. And he wrote in the end of it, he says, after 120, when I'll come above, and the best is Shamal will ask me, will you Lubavitcher Chassid? I'll say yes. So they tell me, did you daven a Lubavitcher? I'm not going to be able to say yes, because I didn't. Did you learn like a Lubavitcher? No. Did you learn Krishma like a Lubavitcher? No. So why a Lubavitcher? He says, look in the case of my arrest in Leningrad, case number so and so and so. And it's written, the KGB agent stamped that I'm a Lubavitcher. And I sat for it. So I deserve to be called a Lubavitcher. Because as a Chassid, I didn't live up like a Lubavitcher Chassid. But he says, but the KGB is going to make me suffer as a Lubavitcher. So I deserve to be one.
He earned it.
That's
Chaim.
KGB knew what the Lubavitcher is. The Rebbe, that was in Russia. But Russia was much easier. What was it easier? Chassidim grew up, by every Jew who grew up as a Chassid knew, to be a Jew is not an option. This is who I am. So if Stalin wants I should become a Goy, I should eat treif, and Mechal Shabbos, then, but that's not me. So I can't give in. Like somebody says, leave under the water. You're crazy, well, under the water I can't leave, I'm dead. No, we're going to give you freedom, leave under the water. So I know I have to fight for it. As long as I could, I'll fight for it. Because under the water, I'm dead. I'm dead anyway, so why should I go under the water? So Lubavitcher Chassid, Chassidim knew, to give in the communism, to give up Yiddishkeit, that my children, Chas Shalom, should grow up without Yiddishkeit. That I should be without Yiddishkeit, give up Shabbos, Kashrus, or Chinuch. It was there's no way to give it up.
Yeah.
But here came the West. And over here I could have Kol Yisrael ice cream, and even the Hashem for Abalanda. If not, but that's Yerushalayim. I don't know if it's good enough, but whatever, I could live a life. And the Rebbe says, no, as long as there is a Jew, who knows where, who doesn't know about Yiddishkeit, so that has to be my life. To spread Yiddishkeit, to get to another Jew who doesn't know Yiddishkeit, doesn't know Albeis, who doesn't know Chassidus, who doesn't have a Rebbe, who's not connected to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe wants to be connected to every Jew. The Rebbe wants to bring Geulah. The Rebbe wants to take every Jew out and every Goy, Shalom Yisrael. We have to elevate the whole world. We have to bring Mashiach. Do I need Mashiach? Do I know what Mashiach is? I'm afraid of Mashiach. The same Mashiach, everybody's going to see who I am and I'll be punished. And who knows who wants Mashiach? Maybe it's better I'm hiding. But Chassid, even so, he says, yeah, I'm going to get patch, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. The Rebbe wants Mashiach, I want Mashiach. But the Rebbe wants not only I agree that I want Mashiach, but I should do something to bring Mashiach. And not only do something, but not in my life. I shouldn't be able to go to sleep. L'havah l'meis HaMashiach. Kol yom ha'yechad, l'havah l'meis HaMashiach. It's a Haggadah, a pasuk in the Haggadah. A clear piske in the Haggadah, not a pasuk. It's not there should be sound. L'havah l'meis HaMashiach. That's our whole life. And that's what the Rebbe wants from us. Even so, we're simple Jews. We're not Chassidim of the Alter Rebbe. We're not even Bala Mesiras Nefesh of the Chassidim of the Friedrich Rebbe. The Rebbe wants from us not less, not much, not more. The Rebbe wants 10 Leh HaNefesh. You know, in Chumash, Melech's name says, HaRechush Kach Loch. Take your talents, take your mitzvahs, take your all the good stuff that you did, no problem, it's all yours. You're going to have Shai Elvis. You're going to have all the goodies. The Chassidus says Shai is the same letter as Yesh. It's me, I did 310 Elvis. It's the other words of Yesh. But the Rebbe says, enjoy the world, this world, that world, wherever you want. Just tell me nefesh. Your nefesh has to be devoted to bring Mashiach. The nefesh, the Rebbe wanted the nefesh of each one of us. And that's a chassid by the Rebbe. But the Rebbe Rasham, if somebody learned and davened 24/7, each of the masters was a perfect chassid of the Rebbe Rasham. Perfect. You can't ask for more than that. But the Friedrich Rebbe in 1926, by Verbrengen, you heard the story, said each, if you're doing Tashbar, you know what Tashbar is? Tedeka Shel Misrael. The Friedrich Rebbe, in the years of Russia, was you have to take little kids and teach them Torah. If you do that, then you're mine.
Tashbar?
Tashbar, Rosh Hashanah, Tedeka Shel Beis Rabba.
Young Jewish children learn Torah.
Lord and Aleph. That was the Friedrich Rebbe was sending Chassidim to sacrifice their life to do that.
See, the Masbid, he used to learn like 20 hours a day without stopping, and he was a tremendous genius.
More than that, and he was a shliach. He was collecting money for the Rebbe. That was his whole life. But then by bringing the Rebbe tells him, Ichi, do you do Tashbar, then you're mine. And if not, you're Taki Ichi. And Ichi meant a tzaddik. He was a level of a tzaddik. You know, his brachas, whatever. He was a Jew on a higher level. You're Taki Ichi, but not mine.
But the Rebbe told him to collect money.
True, he was working for the Rebbe, but working for the Rebbe is one thing, and being Moser v'Nosel to what the Rebbe wants today, that's a chassid of Friedrich Rebbe. Can you imagine what's today by the Rebbe? It's Muchal Bein Arech. It's Bein Arech. If a chassid today has something else in life besides what the Rebbe wants, could be a great Jew. Called chassid Chabad, could be called Shliach. But it's not a real chassid of the Rebbe. A real chassid of the Rebbe, he has nothing else but Rebbe. And an example is like Zusha Partizan, like Reuben Brun, like Avrom I'm taking it. I saw it, Avrom Paris, like Jews like this. Read the book Achadoy Avrom Paris, and you will see it's a total different chassid, a different chassid. A different lingo. He writes to his family. By the way, when the Rebbe arrived to America, the Friedrich in 1940, Avram Paris lived in Israel. He had a wife and little kids. You know what he did? He collected money, he took a loan, he bought a ticket on the ship, and he went to New York. And you know why? Not that he wanted to be near the Rebbe. That's normal for every person. But I don't know how many did it in Israel in 1940. He said why he did it. He says the Rebbe just came to America. The Rebbe is noch sitting. Amerikaner Balmanis over there. American boys. What do they know what the Rebbe is? The Rebbe is a hard minion. He says the Rebbe needs somebody there to understand what he needs to serve the Rebbe. So he came to be there, one of them. To be something that the Rebbe wants. To be able to create for the Rebbe an atmosphere, whatever, to fulfill what the Rebbe wants. So he left his wife and kids and went there. And over here the children were getting married. And he wrote them letters, told them Maslovs. And he wrote to them, you're getting married under the chuppah, you should understand and think. Read this book. What is this? That the whole purpose of life is to be able to bring, to fulfill what the Rebbe wants. That's what he wrote. He wrote it to his chaver, Beryl Rifkin, who was a Rosh Hashiva in Tervaz. That was his life. He wrote it to his son, to his daughter, to wife, and this Rebbe. That was his whole life. He passed away in 1968, Chof Chesed, Erzsruel. He says, I don't mind to pass away. I already saw Mashiach. I'm peaceful, I'm good to go. He says, I saw Mashiach, I'm fine. And he said, the Frierdiker Rebbe, he says, was such a chach, the Rebbe. You know, when the Kvar Chabad was open, the Frierdiker Rebbe stand the secretary of the Kvar Chabad, stand with the Gehut of Ron Paris. He says, the Rebbe knew he can't get rid of me. I will never leave him. So he gave my shlichs, he gave me a tenant to bring to Kvar Chabad. I had no choice. I couldn't say no, not going. So the Rebbe was smart and he got rid of me by sending me this table to Kvar Chabad. He was the shliach who brought the Sefer Torah from New York to Chabad. But he lived the Rebbe. You know, Tafshin Yud, when in Israel Sunday morning they heard the stalkers of the Frierdiker Rebbe. It's all Chassidim in Tel Aviv. I was in the synagogue on Nachalas Binyamin. They did Kriya and they said on Shiva. Avram Parish says, what do you mean we're sitting Shiva? We have a Rebbe. Can you imagine? The minute he heard the stalkers of Frierdiker Rebbe, he's the one who left his wife and kids and went for 10 years to New York just to be with the Rebbe. And then this, your Rebbe, you were told yesterday was the stalkers. He says, I have a Rebbe. He right away was discussion to the Rebbe. I'm the same second. Then he says, whoa, but the Rebbe is sitting Shiva. Then I'm also sitting Shiva. So I did pray and also said Shiva.
He didn't see his wife in 10 years?
10 years.
Didn't see his wife?
No. It's wild, huh?
Like Rabbi Akiva.
Rabbi Akiva.
But Mendel 18 years.
Huh?
But Mendel 18 years.
Yeah, but Mendel was sitting in jail. Didn't see. He went to the Rebbe to be there for the Rebbe. Huh? I can't hear you.
He wasn't able to go back to the war.
Which war? Who told you that? 45? 40, so what, from America to Israel you couldn't travel? No? And what happened 45? 46? 47? 48? 49? The war was over. He went to the Rebbe to be there, and he went only when the Frierdiker Rebbe said with Severus. He didn't go to that.
You never went to visit?
No! No, you asked me, I didn't know him personally, but you read this, read Echad Hoya Avram, you should buy it. Manual has it in 770 in the basement. Buy it, read it. Traktorist Shal Rebbe, did you read? Reuven Dun's book. You should. You want to be a chassid of the Rebbe, you have to read that book. You have to learn Likutei Sichos. You have to learn Rambam and Chittas every day. You have to do all Mitzvah, do whatever. But you want to read intellectually to understand what means living Rebbe. Unfortunately, we cannot take it to Likutei Sichos direct. We have to read Echad Avram Paris. We have to read of Zusha Partizan. We have to read of the Traktorist Shal Rebbe of Reuven Dunin. And Yitzchak Gasburg, Chayal B'Shirut Rebbe. Then you understand what means being a Rebbe's soldier. You know, Yitzchak Gasburg, he lived in Tanakh. He opened a Bet Sefer. And that year his father passed away. So you write to the Rebbe, there's no minion there. He has no meaning. He has to say Kaddish for his father. So he writes to the Rebbe, he will look for someone who will take over his job. And he is moving to Kvar Chabad, to Tel Aviv, to the Rebbe. He should be able to say Kaddish. There's no minion there. So the Rebbe writes him back. What do you think the Rebbe writes him back? The biggest aliyah to the neshama of your father is your work, not the Kaddish. Kaddish is much less than that. You know the Rebbe who is so careful with Shulchan Aruch. The Rebbe that on every line of the Shulchan Aruch, the Rebbe, like we know, 78 when the Rebbe had the heart attack, the Rebbe didn't want to drink even water, didn't make Kiddush without this, didn't want to make Kiddush on Jews, wanted on wine, the doctor says it's not allowed, but they make Kiddush. A halacha to the Rebbe, a line, a word, a line, the Shulchan Aruch was the whole world. And the same Rebbe says to him, what you do, Miftzoim, which Miftzoim? Miftzoim that I gave you. The Miftzoim, what you do, Mekarevs and Jews, is higher than Kaddish. It's not a joke. There's nothing higher, there's nothing more meaningful for us than to live Rebbe, than to do what the Rebbe wants. And the Alter Hasidim were not simple Jews. The Alter Hasidim is a famous saying. If the Alter Rebbe would tell us to go on fire, here what Chassid says, he says, we wouldn't go on fire with the hope that we're going to be saved. If the Rebbe told me to go on fire, then I want to go on fire and burn because that's what the Rebbe told me to do. Do you understand what it means?
It's a bit ridiculous.
Sounds ridiculous because we are not Chassidim. Because we don't know what the Chassid means. The Alter Rebbe didn't say that Chassid go on fire. But the Chassid is devoted to Rebbe and understanding that what the Rebbe tells you, that's your destination, that's where you were born for, that's your ultimate where you could reach ever, is what the Rebbe gives you. So if the Rebbe would tell us, I think it was Ziltsman2, I remember which of the Chassidim said it. If the Alter Rebbe would tell us to go on fire, as it spoke about, Avi would tell us, we wouldn't go there with the thought that we'll probably be saved. If the Rebbe goes to go on fire, means that's what I want to do. So there is a reason for my word, so I'm doing it even I don't know why. That's the devotion of, that's a real chassid. You know the famous story about the Alter Rebbe, there was the Simchas Torah when Chassidim came, it was a very cold winter, they came to Lozna and a few older Chassidim on the way got sick. And before the Hakafas, they came to the Rebbe and said that there is a whole group of Chassidim who are very sick and in danger. And the Alter Rebbe made a Kiddush, gave them wine and told them, Havla mapping, how the heat will take out, the heat of the Torah will take out, go give them taste of Kiddush and bring them to the Hakafas. They came there and they were referred, there was a Misnagid, and they said, take this guy, he says, outside is so cold, you take him out. The guy was hardly breathing, and you can see the guy fighting for life. And he said, take him outside, he's dead. It's Mamish Ritzicha. And Pinchas raises, well, there was a big chassid. And he saw that the guys are right. The guy looks like almost dead. Take him and this weather out. You're right, you can't. But the youngsters, the Rebbe said, what do you mean? Sure, we're going. They didn't listen, took him physically, brought them to the shul, they made it to the shul, and the Rebbe gave him a bracha, and they went dancing, and they were fine, and the Pinchas raises says, I was ashamed of myself. I is the one who learned Chassidus. I understood greatness of the Alter Rebbe from learning, from a little understanding, knowledge. This young kid there didn't understand what the Alter Rebbe is. They had no understanding the greatness, but they had simple emotion. The Rebbe said, what do you mean? We're going. And he was ashamed of himself that his great wisdom, his great this, his great knowledge in Torah and whatever he managed to reach, didn't give him that simple this. But at the same time, there was Alter Rebbe said, they will go to fire, they will go to burn them. So that's devotion. But the Rebbe didn't want that. If a chassid will say to the Rebbe, I'm ready to go to fire and burn, the Rebbe says, stupid. He needs you burn, chas v'shalom. I don't want you to burn. I want you to live a good life. but it shouldn't be yours. It should be totally devoted to what Hashem wants. And the Rebbe's word, it means what the Rebbe wants. Because it's the same.
He said that Reuven Tunim came to the Rebbe and gave him his house with an order of tin, with a lawyer. And the Rebbe said, if you want to give me your house, is you stay in the house and live in the house the way that I want it. So give me the house. Anybody wanted to give him the house, and you live in a hotel. The house would be the Rebbe's. He wanted it to be my house. Because you live in the house.
Haruchush kachloch, ten li ha-nefesh. The nefesh I want. And that's what that's our job.
It's easier to burn.
That's right.
It's easier to go to the fire.
Huh?
It's easier to go to the fire.
Oh, it's actually easier. It's true. The fire is easier to go. It sounds scarier, but it's easier.
Depends how hot the fire is.
Huh?
Depends how hot the fire is.
No, but the fire, you jump in the fire, okay, so it takes a minute and I'm over. Done with it. Here, to leave Rebbe, it's 24/7 with no end. Okay, so I did it for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I want now 5 minutes for myself. 5 minutes I want rest. I deserve after 10 years non-stop. I don't think somebody could say that 10 years non-stop, but let's say somebody says, Rebbe, give me 5 minutes. So tell me, what will be the Rebbe's answer? The Rebbe says 5 minutes. Shchita begalusa. Hashem is in exile. Golus, Knesset Yisrael is in exile. There's so much suffering, so much this. Can you imagine 5 minutes? 5 minutes times 18 million Jews. You know how much time it is? You want to prolong it for so much time? For so many? How can you take 5 minutes? A second you can take. You have to break the rule now. But the Rebbe Rashab, if you work 10 years and you want 5 minutes to rest, no problem. Again, do I know what the Rebbe Rashab? As far as we understand, we see in the Sikhs what the Rebbe wanted from the Chassidim. 5 minutes you want to rest? It's deserved. It's rest because you have to learn, you're going to work harder. You need the 5 minutes. But the Rebbe, there's no 5 minutes rest. It's a total different demand. Doesn't mean we're higher. We're much more simple. More than 5 minutes to learn. That's in Berlin. Fast 80 minutes, that's in Berlin, in Dutch. He said, Shema Yisrael. He's Spain and help me. my fault. I guess I'm Russian. That's not my fault. It's not my. I didn't choose it. Or virtue. But I guess it's a new phase. So it's a year and a half or 2 years I wasn't here. So never. Mayor sees me in Beis Menachem. That's it. I'm hooked. There's no point to fight because
He's good at it.
it's going to drive me crazy. So I said, okay, I'm not going to fight you. So I have to put up with Mayor Lebanoni, and you guys have to put up with me. I heard that there was somebody who was by the Rebbe. Yes, the Rebbe asked me for praying. I don't know how to do it. How do I go about for praying? So the Rebbe says, take a seat. Say over the seat. And then you still time, and then you go and explain it, and from there it will arise. Today's Hayem Yem. It's Parsha Pinchas, right? Today's Pinchas, it's Wednesday, so it's Parsha Revi. I'm sure you guys already learned today the Chidas, or you're still planning to do it? Didn't do it yet? Did it already. So this Parsha is a very special Parsha for a Chassid. It's special. What is it special? Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, in short, time has come. And that's it. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't argue. But Moshe Rabbeinu says, Daber Moshe Hashem Leiva, Yifkid Hashem Elokei Ruchos. Let God appoint someone. It's really interesting when it comes to God. I don't remember where Moshe Rabbeinu gives God this title. Elokei Haruchos, the God of all spirits. And he says more than that, not just spirits, human, l'chol basar, every flesh. God who understands every flesh. What should he do? He should appoint Ish al-Reida, human being, and the community. Is that so far so good? That's the translation. Then Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't stop with that. He says, well, I can't go before you appoint someone. That's not enough. Then Moshe Rabbeinu starts giving a whole job description. He says, what will you do? Asher Yetzer Lefneim, Asher Yavel Lefneim, you will go in front of them, come after them. Asher Yitzim will take them to war, will bring them to war. But L'Dia Das Hashem, and the community of God should not be Katzei like sheep, Hashem that don't have a shepherd. I don't understand what happened with Moshe Rabbeinu. He just said Ish al-Haida, a human being and the community, and all of a sudden in the next passage he says, shouldn't be the community of God like sheep without a shepherd. I mean, we know Moshe Rabbeinu was an Erev Yisrael, loved Jews. He just calls them Ish al-Haida. It would be much more, so to speak, in team. We would say there shouldn't be like a Bleimelach, like a community without a king, or Manhig, without a leader. Why all of a sudden sheep? How did sheep come into it? He just speaks about the Jews and he calls them Adas Hashem, the community of God. I mean, sheep are not community of God. The community of God is Jews, not even Goyim. Adas Hashem. So far as the shilos. I usually answer this to when the Snagdim or others or non-Chassidim don't have the appreciation, they're not blessed, they didn't grow up. Yiddishkeit, Judaism comes with Moshe Rabbeinu, it's part of parcel of Yiddishkeit. But them, they have a God, so to speak, they think they have a Torah, and they have themselves. And this is the three things that everything is built. The way he learns Torah, he understands Torah, and that's his whole Judaism is all about. A Rebbe doesn't exist. Moshe Rabbeinu was once. Today, we have a Torah. Just last week, there was one of our Balchuvas who was sitting with someone, also Russian, but he was giving a class. He actually lives in Israel, he's also in Toronto, he's a very talented speaker. So, he tells the guy, he says, you know everything, but tell me, what do you have? A Moshe Rabbeinu? Like what? He said, there's no Moshe Rabbeinu here. Moshe Rabbeinu was. He says, well, you don't know Moshe Rabbeinu, but he says, and if there is a Moshe Rabbeinu, there was a difference. I have that feeling, I have to live as a Jew, and Moshe Rabbeinu, if he's there, he's there. If he's not there, what has to do with me? I am not Moshe Rabbeinu, so it has nothing to do with me. And to a chassid, to hear these words is scary. Because somebody like will say, I'm a Jew, let's keep Shabbos, don't keep Shabbos. I learn Torah, what's the difference? Shabbos I have, Shabbos I have. So I need a cigarette, so I take a cigarette. I'm learning Torah on Shabbos. Obviously, the class is like, what, are you crazy? And that's, what kind of Torah? But the Friedrich Rebbe in the Likutei Deburim, there is a story. Somebody was sitting and learning with a Chil Shabbos, but he had a geschmack in learning. Yeah, there's a whole story. The Friedrich Rebbe sent, Baal Shem Tov sent somebody, Reb Chaim, to make a bracha there, to be mild in the Shana. Sorry. Say something.
Sure. The Rebbe said something about that in his Sifos part.
Go ahead. Please.
About
share with us, yeah?
no, about that.
What?
The most important thing is tefillah.
Is tefillah.
Yeah,
prayer.
Kubanos,
Huh?
giving kubanos and everything. The leader, when the Jews ask for a new leader, knowing Moshe is passing away.
Jews didn't ask our leader.
Moshe.
Moshe.
So what Hashem says?
Hashem says, yes, go take Yeshua.
Hashem
The
says,
point.
what do you mean? Command me to give a leader? Command them to do what I tell them. What is it?
Yeah. But on a different point.
Of course, we need a leader in order to be able to do it.
It's nothing. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, when you tell me that I have to appoint a leader, why don't you tell the Jews they should listen to me? That's a different point. It's not. It's interesting that from Rebbe, at least I'm not familiar. The Rebbe somehow doesn't touch it. I didn't find it. I don't know. We need pshat in it, but it's Poshet Chumash of today, so we obviously could learn it. And with Achas learns it, the Rebbe I didn't see it from the Rebbe anywhere. So if somebody could make this marker, please share. But it's just possible. Anyway, so I answered the guy. It says Vayiminu b'Hashem b'Mei Shavde. Again, first of all we have to know it ourselves. Anything, all the chidushim that Chassidus have, what means a Rebbe, how important a Rebbe is in the life of a Jew, of a Chassid, of Judaism without a Rebbe doesn't exist. Which doesn't exist. But beside that, we know it all in Chassidus, we have to be able to see it also the way the Chumash has it, and then the way the Gemara has it, and then the way the thousands of years till the Baal Shem, and then comes the Chiddush of Chassidus. But Chassidus revealed more depth, more meaning in it. And then the Rebbe's edition in Deir HaShvi in the 7th generation. So Vayaminu b'Hashem b'Mei Shavde, this comes before Pinchas, right? We say it every day in davening. When you look at it, you say, hey, this Chumash looks like a Lubavitcher on the Chumash. Then I say to a Litvak, tell me, if I'll quote you and you don't know who said it, then what does it say? Tell me, Vayiminu, believe in Hashem and in Moshe the same way. Who speaks that way today in 2011 in the world? Lubavitch. You're crazy. I said, look, the Chumash says it. Moshe Rabbeinu says it. Hashem brings in all the Chumashim. And by the way, it's all the Sidurim. Ashkenaz, Sfar, all the Sidurim of the world, 365 days a year. There's no day we're all repeated. Vayiminu b'Hashem b'Mei Shavde. All the Neschoes. And then what does it say? Believe in Hashem and in Moshe in one line. I said, doesn't it say with the Zohar? How do you say? When we say Rebbe, 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 you scream that we're Avodah Zarah. Lubavitch What's about the Eibishter? How about the Eibishter teaches us Avodah Zarah? So is this Avodah Zarah? Tell me what Chumash says could be Avodah Zarah, or is this the real way to serve Hashem? He says, I don't know what it means. I believe you. I believe you that you don't know. But the question is, how come you never asked? You should see it, you should ask. He says, I know, it looks something a little strange, so I just move on. I don't want to stop it. So what are you afraid? God will lead you to Avodah Zarah. What are you afraid? Hashem will lead you the wrong way? What do you mean you don't want to look at it? Who are you afraid of? It's a famous story I heard from a real cop. There was a Jew living in Ramat Gan here. His name was Meir Belazinski. He was a very famous chassid. I'm sure you guys who live here years knew about it, heard so. So he explained that how sinners who believe in Hashem is not serious. It's a joke. He says once by a wedding, so he saw a Litvak, who was obviously somebody who didn't learn Chassidus, and was dancing like so seriously, with kavanah, fulfilling the mitzvah of Bimis Habayach Hasan and Kala. And it was, and the Chassid saw, and somehow he saw that it's not genuine or whatever. So he comes over to him in the middle of dancing and says, swear that there is a God. He says, swear, it's true, it's the Chomor, we have to think about it. The gay applicators from the gay fighters of the who are you dancing? What mitzvahs are you doing? You're not sure he exists. Who are you serving? What are you doing? The guy says, well, sure, it's a very dober Chomor in Tehran. Chomor what? Swear that there is a God. I also heard from, there was a psychiatrist, passed away. He lived in California, in Palo Alto. He moved to Israel. I think his son is a shliach today. Forgot his name. Professor became a Baal Tshuva. Remember in Toronto he was for praying. It was actually him for speaking for a more outside audience. But later we were sitting together. A full beard. He became frum. He was already a doctor. I think when the Rebbe spoke in 75, we should make kosher meditation. The Rebbe asked him he should develop kosher meditation because it was a famous shrink.
What does that mean?
Kosher meditation.
Kosher meditation. You know, meditation is meditation. They have the name, mantras, Avodah Zarah. He said that there's something needed. Doctors are using it. Should develop kosher meditation. Should be able to help Jews without having the Avodah Zarah using it. So he said that after he became a chassid, he realized the difference between a chassid and non-chassid. He says, well, I used to have my music to a chassid and non-chassid. So between all the questions, and usually the way as a doctor says, he asks a question and he presses the button on the clock and it shows how long it takes the person to answer the question. That gives him an indication on his psychologically issues, health, whatever it is. So he's asking, he says, I'm non-chassid. Do you absolutely believe that a God exists? So the guy says, well, depends what do you mean absolutely, depends what do you mean prove. And he says, no, I just ask your question, just answer me yes or no. Until it starts ringing. It goes over a minute. I asked Elabavitch, do you believe there is a God? He says, yes. Before I managed to answer the question, he says, yes. Like, what's the question? What kind of stupid question are you asking? It's different. Anyway, so interesting is that the Rebbe in Purim, Tavshin Chai, 1958, the Rebbe shared, Aminu B'Hashem Amesha Avdei, I didn't see the Mechilta, but you know there is a Sefri, there is a Mechilta. Mechilta is basically written between Mishnayos and Gemara. And the Mechilta says, Aminu B'Hashem Amesha Avdei, it makes it even worse. Chumash is still Sibel. It's Parav still, that's right. You said it right. He says, the Mechilta says, Vaises Vamina B'Hashem Hashem, it says together, the Mechilta says, because if there is missing a Munah B'Meisha, there cannot be complete a Munah in Hashem. That's why it says, Vamina B'Hashem, you know when? If U'B'Meisha Avdi. If U'B'Meisha Avdi is missing, a Munah in Hashem cannot be complete. And that's a Mechilta. No, you can't argue. It was before the Baal Shem Tov was born. Before the Alter Rebbe, before the Rebbe was born. It's a Mechilta. It's 2,000 years ago. A Mechilta is It's basic of Judaism. And you can't argue from Hill.
What the people had to do then before cities started?
How did they learn this?
Yeah. And how could they have
I'm sure.
Moshe Rabbeinu. Rambam was Moshe Rabbeinu.
Sure. Obviously. So again, there were Jews who were looking for the Moshe Rabbeinu in their generation. There were Jews who were Golos. One of the chidushim of the Baal Shem, that he was mechadish, he brought back what the Golos was forgotten. Because of Golos, Jews were dispersed. So the idea, the understanding that there is whatever they have different names, Nossi. Even in Babylon, there was still Nossi. The title was there. But later, in Golos, we lost it. The Baal Shem Tov brought it back. And not only brought back the practice, but also revealed bigger depths in it. The Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe, till the Rebbe. So, Vamin Hashem Meshad means it's a very simple thing. You need a Moshe Rabbeinu. Because otherwise, it doesn't say it's only in the door of Moshe Rabbeinu was complete. And today, if I don't have Moshe Rabbeinu, then my Emun in Hashem is also not complete. And the Islam says, and who says it? Who does it read? It says just Moshe Rabbeinu. So I said, take the dispatch. Here, Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, you completed your job. Time to go. And Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, no, we need a leader who will continue after. Hashem agrees with him. Moshe Rabbeinu gives a job description. First of all, he says his quality has to be Isha Sharuach Bey, Yivka Hashem Elukei Ruches, and he says, she'll be Katsein Hashem Le'emrei. So I explained that Katsein Hashem Le'emrei, but Pashtus, it says on Shola Melech, it says, V'shichme lo'maylam g'vei mekalam. Am I English or Hebrew? Is it okay? Or
Yeah.
Am I not?
Sure. You're on camera, man. It has to be okay.
I used to that everybody tells me you're Russian, your explanation is Russian. Everything is Russian.
I think you're speaking French.
It's French though now. Now I know you understand.
Maybe they were speaking a little fast.
Russian. I'm Russian.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I work with Russians. I'm used to the accent. Don't worry. So
They're hot-blooded.
I think. Sure.
Well, they definitely don't fall asleep.
No.
So it says by Shaul HaMelech, it says Meshichve v'maylo gevei v'kolom. It says the Shaul HaMelech, the first king by the Jews, was so tall that his Meshichve, his what is it called, shoulder, was higher than the head of anybody in the Jewish people. He was physically the most tallest person among the Jewish nation. So Chassidus comes and says, well, maybe, fine, but who cares? Why is Torah telling me this? What's the point in it? That Amalek has to be the tallest guy? We know the guys who throw the balls.
Basketball.
Basketball. But then we need tall. Why do you need the king to be the tallest guy? What's the... There was a king, a non-Jewish king. It was Napoleon, right? It's actually, you say, he was very short. But he managed to run a country as we were going, but whatever. He had him Apollo because he went against the Alter Rebbe. Anyway, so Chassidus explains that the shoulder means the heart. That the emotions of Shaul HaMelech was higher than the intellect of the greatest, most talented Jew. The greatest of the kings means physically his midas were on a high level than the mechin of anybody else. That's what the Torah says.
Shoulder was the heart?
Huh?
Shoulder referred to the heart?
They say the shoulder, yeah, is the level of midas, the level of the heart. It's the level of the heart. Emotion.
His head, his emotions were very,
Was above than any intellect of the Jewish people. That made them the job. That made them the abilities, the qualification to be the king. Anyway, but when we say can you imagine there are a group of sheep who the shepherd took him for 10, 20 years every day from the barn to the field to eat grass, to drink water, go back to sleep, again to eat, again to drink, and back to sleep. After a couple of years, they say, shepherd, we don't need you anymore. We know it. We have the biggest ox. He has longest beard. It's white. It's a buck. What is it called in English?
A bull.
Not an ox. Saying is actually sheep. Goat. A goat. Yeah. So he's the biggest. He's the tallest. He has the biggest horn, and actually that's what happens usually. When the tallest and the biggest walk, they all follow, right? They're not leads by nature, the sheep. So they say, that's it, we have someone who knows where to go, we know the way, we don't need the shepherd. Will that work? That will not work, because let's say they will know how to go water back, but if a sheep is in trouble, if a wolf comes, or something else comes, another problem comes, or this, they need the shepherd. What is Hashem saying? You can say in Ashila Emreya, between the leader. Don't think, Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people can't think that Moshe Rabbeinu is someone who learned, is older, has more talents, learned more Gemara, or more Chassidus, and therefore he is the Rebbe. This means the Rebbe means is a shepherd, is human, and everybody else in Jewish people, the biggest tzaddik, the tzaddik Hador, is not the Rebbe, is part of Tzaddik. Because it's a total different level of Kodam Chassidus. What I'm saying is not the Talmud Chassidus. Chumash Lemikra, 5-year-old. Pashat, and the Rashi actually doesn't even explain it because it's simple. A shepherd is human. Baban of the sheep could come close to him. The problem of Kerach, Kerach taught that Moshe Rabbeinu is just a little smarter. But now he gave us all over, and now we all become Deishim, B'Seichel Hashem. We don't need any more Moshe Rabbeinu. Over here, Moshe Rabbeinu says to the
It's not good, no.
Well, Kerach, yeah, he was. It's true. Bisnagid, he deserved to take that. The only thing is Bisnagid, but not Kerach, because they cannot learn like him. They're not reaching like him. They're not cousins of Moshe Rabbeinu. They have no right to make this mistake. Kerach still maybe have some rights to this. They don't have that right. They don't have the specialties of Kerach. How do you make that? And Kerach was before Parsha Pinchas, before he learned Yivkid Hashem Elokei Aruchos. So he thought Moshe Rabbeinu did this job, gave us a Torah, we don't need Moshe Rabbeinu. So the one who tells you that Hashem Moshe was good then, today we don't need it, you open a Chumash, and all of a sudden Moshe Rabbeinu says, and Hashem agrees, that there cannot be no Moshe Rabbeinu, and before he goes, there must be somebody who why did it Chumash? And then what is Hashem saying? Vayim Hashem el Moshe, kach lacho is Yeshua, take to yourself. We'll need, I don't know, I never saw a member of the Rebbe. When it says by Vatet Tetzava, take the Shemet, lecho, so the Rebbe has a whole mimer on it. When it comes to what else? Paradum, and says, the Hashem says, kach lecho, so the Rebbe also has a whole mimer of Chovtes. Of Shilchtes, Amugi Dike Maimer. The Rebbe is explaining what does it mean, Paraduma, what is Paraduma special to Moshe Rabbeinu? We hear it also. So we have to look from that point of Chassidus where it's explained, because it's the same line.
This is obvious.
It is.
Yeshua,
so what? He's not going Yeshua, but he was already there. What's the Kach L'cho? Kach is Yeshua. And anointed. What do you do with him? It's the day. By the way, when was it done? It's done in the day Moshe Rabbeinu became 120. When is Hashem saying it? So what in one day? What is it going to do? Reveal to Yeshua something new? Whatever. That's and what is it said? Yeshua benu ish asher ruach beit. Hashem says to him the same words. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem Elokei Aruchos, and he says to him, Yeshua is the Ish Asher Ruach Beit. So the Ramban, and by the way, you don't have to be clear in Old Kisvei Ramban, or not bad, but we have the Haggadah of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe brings when the Ramban is explaining on Yeshua Ish Asher Ruach Beit, Shiyochel Halach Neged Ruch Shel Kolech. Same as Elokei Aruchos, Rashi says, an Yeshua, Rashi brings sich, Yalach, Negedrucha Shel Kelechet Ve'echad. The Alter Rebbe explains it in the Akdama of Tanya, so where does it come out? That a human being, if you write a sefer to Sechel Anushi, then cannot cover everybody. Because the most talented Sechel Anushi, it's 600,000 Jews. And there is no two who think alike. You have to make a bracha, chachamarosim. Why chachamarosim? Because only the Rebishter could understand the day of everyone. Then comes the Gemara, that found that Talmud Chochem, that he also was Shemus Hadeios and Teireh and all the Chochmes, and he understood every person, and on him you could also make the bracha, chachamarosim.
Because we see that no, we don't do this. Not in Philadelphia.
You're right.
Not the
Even for the Rebbe, we didn't do the bracha because I guess chachamarosim, I don't know, maybe it has to be something that recognized by everybody. That's fine. But the bracha chachamarosim is kolol. The standard that Mashiach will come, the whole world has to end like a bracha, has to be in the Kiyim Hashem of Yisrael. We make a bracha and the standard will just...
Not everything's Begalui, that's all.
Huh?
Not everything's Begalui.
I guess. In any case, so here we see in Chumash here, that the Rebbe says, as Yeshua, who could be, so the Alter Rebbe is explaining the Akdama of Tanya, who could kill all the days of every human being? It's not humanly possible. It's only is that correct? Is it only through that Hashem gives Isha Sharuach, where Hashem could give the ability, there could be a human being, that means Rebbe, who could do it. By the way, when you look at the Akdama of Tanya, it's very, if you look at the Baptus, when it comes to the second part, after he explains why we cannot go looking for it because we need a Rebbe, Alter Rebbe explains what Chassidim said very well. And then he starts, but this book is different because I spoke to all of you, and now I'm putting in and listening to words. I'm writing down all the answers to all the questions. But logically, what do you mean all the answers? How can you all the answers? You could put together all the answers you gave. But you did it in a span of 20 years, 30 years. I mean, you didn't see all Jews of the world, just the ones who are around. And he says it, and then he says, that's not all the questions were asked. Then he says, all the answers to all the questions. How can human do it? And the Alter Rebbe, and it's at the same time when he calls it Akdama Samlaket, I'm only a collector. I was not Mechadish anything, but not a bad collector who could put all the answers to all the questions. It's like a very special collector.
A little book.
In the history, I think the only one before the Alter Rebbe who wrote it was the Rambam. The Rambam writes in the Sof of Akdama, after you read Chumash, and you read my Sefer, you don't need to any other schibur. And he adds more than that, the achas mahei, not even one item will be missing after you go through my book. How about this?
I saw that I don't know if you alluded, but I saw that the Maharal says that the Rambam and the other codifiers have written their Sfarim if they thought that people wouldn't know Gemara first and look at all the Shoroshim and all the rest of it. You know,
sure, because to take up psak for Rambam, to understand Rambam,
you have to. Yeah,
you have to know to learn, call it Terekula.
Yeah.
But what the Rambam wrote is still correct. In other words,
what's the deal here? I mean, I got it, you know.
You dig me?
Because after really you do have to know the Shoroshim also, you know.
But it means that the Yoma, when he wrote the Rambam, it included Kol HaTeira Kula. Piske dinim of Kol HaTeira Kula. That nothing was missing. That's what the Rebbe says to the Rambam, because that's Kol HaTeira Kula. I say later, the Rebbe says, still we don't have a second Sefer that includes all the Chidushim that after came. This is the only one that's Kol HaTeira Kula. So this is the only thing that we have.